This is a guide to supplement the fashion K2 craft on distance. With this mod, you will be able to produce ERF energy using rotation for mod K. There is also its own system of wires for transmitting energy. And there is an opportunity to improve the flare burner so that it works on liquid fuel. Let's get started. Now, with the help of a mechanical press and a bowl, you can make vegetable oil from any seeds. And by mixing vegetable oil with any food or flora in a mechanical mixer, under which a burner is installed, you will get biomass. And by placing the biomass under the press, you will get biomass pellets, which are solid-state combustible fuel. Well, and a side effect, get some water. And from 9 pellets of biomass, you can make a full-fledged block, which is also fuel, and it melts even more items. And also, bioethanol can be made from biomass in a mechanical mixer. I forgot to say that vegetable oil and bioethanol are liquid fuels, and where it is used, we'll talk a little later. In addition, there is a new item, diamond sandpaper. It differs from its fellows only in that it is particularly durable and can also be enchanted. To create it, you need to combine paper with diamond dust. Diamond dust is obtained in the crushing wheels after grinding the diamond. In addition, this mod adds 2 new types of cake, honey and chocolate. A new recipe for hellstone made of cobblestone, lava and netherite flour will appear in the mechanical mixer. Also, a new recipe has appeared from Akram and Tuff. By reworking their crushing wheels, you can with some probability get Electrum, a new material. Let's move on. Let's talk about the new block rolling mill. The task of this mechanism is to produce rods from ingots and from plates. Wires, but also made of bamboo. A straw. This is a very important subject, which we will return to later. In order for it to start working, the rotation needs to be brought to these faces, and the objects for processing are loaded through the upper face if they are thrown out or placed using some mechanisms, for example, a funnel or a gutter. And the finished result is taken by right-clicking on the mechanism. In addition, this mechanism is easily automated with the help of 2 gateways. The first one will supply us with resources, and the second one will take the finished result. This straw is one of the most useful items in this fashion. If you click it on the flare burner, it will change. Now you can supply it with any combustible liquid in the form of fuel, by traditional methods or using pipes, which is much more convenient. I strongly recommend installing the mod J, which shows recipes. With it you can see how much a particular liquid burns, and some liquids allow you to achieve overheating of your burner. And then we are met by 2 interesting mechanisms, mutually opposite, a generator and an electric motor. Feeding the rotation generator from this side here, it will produce ERF energy. But keep in mind that in order for the generator to start its work, it needs to set a speed of at least 32 units. And wearing engineering glasses, you will notice what kind of load it creates and how much ERF energy it produces. And you can extract the accumulated energy from the generator by any means from the rest of its facets. And then we'll talk to you about the electric motor. If you supply ERF energy to it, it will become a source of rotation. And from the back side, you can specify exactly how fast it will rotate. And by giving a redstone signal, you can turn the motor on and off. And now let's talk about the ERF energy transportation system using wires and special connectors. There are 3 types of connectors in total. Now we're going to talk about 2 that transmit energy, small and large. They differ only in the number of wires that can be connected to them at a time, and the amount of energy that is passed at a time. The small connector supports 4 connections, and the large one supports 6, but also types of wires. For example, everything can be connected to a small one, but only gold and electric wires can be connected to a large one. And the wires themselves, or rather coils with wires, are 4 types: copper, gold, electrum, and the latter are decorative. In other words, a garland. And a few words about the connector with the lamp. It has absolutely the same properties as a small connector. It is also capable of transmitting energy, and when it passes through it, it glows. This is its only difference. So, to transfer energy, you will need at least two connectors, any. The first connector is installed on the source, and the second on the consumers. Then take any coil with wires, except for the decorative one, and right-click on one connector, and then on the second one, and a connection is formed. And now is a very important moment. All connectors have three operating states in which they receive energy, send it, or the connector is simply used to transfer energy, as an intermediate one. Pay attention to this texture here. It looks like an arrow. If the arrow is directed away from the mechanism, then it sends energy. If it looks into the mechanism, then it will receive energy. And for what the mode without an arrow is needed, I have already told you. You can change these states with a wrench, with a right mouse click. And now interesting facts about wires and connectors. And the maximum distance between two small connectors is 15 blocks connected by any wires. The same distance is for a connector with a lamp, and for a large connector, respectively, 30 blocks. Also, checking the characteristics of the wires, I came to the conclusion that they have no losses from distance, and all the wires transmit the same amount of energy. Perhaps it is somehow configured in the configs, but I did not check. And the saddest thing is, even if the maximum number of wires is connected to the connector, then it will charge only two mechanisms, one at a time. Until he charges them, he will not proceed to the next ones. This works with all kinds of connectors. By the way, small and large connectors can be connected to each other. It is not necessary that they be in pairs. Also, the connectors can be installed vertically on the ceiling, and, of course, the wires pass through the blocks. And if you put on engineering glasses and look at the connector, you will see what mode it is in now, and how much total energy your network consumes. And now let's talk about the redstone relay. With this mechanism, you will be able to control the supply of earth energy through the wires. Look carefully. There are two connectors on the relay, the first one for the input, and the second one for the output of earth energy from some source. We connect the wire to the input to the relay, and from the relay output we, accordingly, conduct the wire to some mechanism that we want to power. And the redstone signal itself will be sent from either of these two sides. In our case, by pressing the lever, we give earth energy access to that mechanism, and disabling the lever, accordingly, turns off the power supply. Well, a useful life hack, redstone relay can be installed on the walls. Next, we'll talk to you about the Tesla coil. This mechanism is capable of recharging earth energy items if they are lying at the depot or walking along a conveyor belt. And accordingly, earth energy is needed for the operation of this mechanism. This mechanism also has a second mode of operation. Give him a redstone signal, and he will start attacking all the nearest players or mobs, striking them with an electric discharge. The damage from electricity is very small, 1 heart, but at the same time, an electric shock effect will be imposed on you, which will not allow you to move. The only way to get out of the affected area is to move by jumping. Then, there is another dangerous block, called barbed wire. For each step inside the barbed wire, you will be dealt damage in the form of 1 heart. And I do not advise pressing the jump key at all. You will simply be damaged and you will not even jump. But if you stop moving, the damage accordingly will not be inflicted. Also, this mod has its own battery. It can also receive and give energy using connectors and wires or something similar, but from other mods. And from several battery blocks, you can make multi-block designs to store more energy. The maximum dimensions are as follows: 2 by 2 and 5 blocks high, or 3 by 3, and also a maximum height of 5 blocks. And putting on engineering glasses and looking at the batteries, you will see the total capacity and how much energy is stored at the moment. Or, you can take a look at the case itself, and specifically at this arrow here, and assess how full the battery is. Also in this mod, there is an energy interface with which you can transfer energy over a distance in a new way. To begin with, glue one energy interface and a battery from the same mod to any rotating or movable structure from the mod. Then install another such interface somewhere nearby. And there is also a third one nearby. Let's make it so that energy enters, let's say, this interface, and it is extracted from this. Next, we will launch our mobile mechanism, and when these two interfaces meet, they will begin to exchange energy. But keep in mind that this method of energy transfer is very long. Until the battery is fully charged or the energy reserve in the source is used up, the interfaces will be connected. Well, exactly the same principle works when discharging. With this method of energy transfer, observe one simple rule. There should be a distance of one free block between the mobile interface and the one that is installed permanently. Remember that. By the way, you can control the energy interfaces using a restun signal, namely, by giving a growth signal to a stationary energy interface, you will turn it off thereby, not allowing it to interact with the one that is rotating at the moment. Well, interesting facts that I noticed: it will not work to transfer energy from one movable thing to another. They do not interact. The fullness arrow on the battery, which is glued to the movable structure, does not move, so it will not be possible to understand how full your battery is. It is possible to glue connectors to movable structures, but you will not be able to transfer energy through wires. They will break off. Also, this mod adds a new item, a pale gold amulet. If your health is below 5 hearts, then the effect of luck with an infinite duration will automatically be superimposed on you. At the same time, this amulet can lie absolutely in any slot of your inventory. And on this, we will say goodbye, friends. I hope you were just as interested as I was. Well, I recommend subscribing to my channel because I have a lot of interesting videos on Minecraft.